So when I first came to university, I came directly out of high school, and through the advice of some guidance counselors, I had chosen to take or pursue a degree in business, and I was doing the co-op programs of the Bachelor of Commerce here at the university. And it wasn't something I was particularly interested in, but the guidance counselors at my school had told me it made sense, and there were jobs, and I could graduate in 4 years and get out into the workforce. But I hadn't really explored what I wanted to do and the things that I really loved or things that inspired me. And I think it really took some time and some key figures here at Memorial to kind of open me up to that. And one of those people would have been Bert Riggs.
When teaching first years, it's important to realize that they are entering a whole new phase of their education, that what they're going to encounter in university, particularly in their first year, is so different from what they were used to in high school. And the experience that they have in that, particularly in that first semester, is going to have a very large impact upon the way that they think about university. In some instances, even is a deciding factor in whether or not they stay beyond the first week, beyond the first month, beyond the first semester.
In my first year of university, I had to take a class in English. And so I'd actually heard that the poetry class 1080 was the easiest one to take because it had the least amount of work and there were no essays, no substantial essays. So I signed up for that class thinking that I'd take it and it would be a breeze and I'd continue on my path. But Bert really challenged me, I think, to think differently about what I wanted to do. Not so much directly in saying that, you have to really contemplate your life, but in the fact that, I went into a classroom that I thought was going to be a boring experience and really enjoyed it and started to think, what other things are out there and what opportunities exist.
My philosophy about literature in general is that it's a threefold exercise, and I tell this to the students right up front. I believe literature, poetry, drama, the novel, the short story, is in our lives to inform us, to entertain us, and to challenge us. And I make it evidently clear to them from the beginning. I'm going to provide you with pieces of literature that is going to inform you, that is going to entertain you, and it's certainly going to challenge you.
I saw verses of poetry as something that were, relatively confusing and somewhat boring. And, Bert really took the time to tease it out of you, to say, what do you really get out of that? But what does that mean? And to try to find a greater meaning than just the verses that you would see on paper. And to be completely honest, the thing that fascinated me the most was that even on the very first day, Bert came in and he had the poems that we were going to discuss that semester memorized. So he could just recite them off the top of his head. Or if we were discussing something, he could refer back to another line. And I thought to myself, if this man has dedicated this much effort and time to go to the point where he's memorizing these huge verses, multiple pages, then there must be something to this stuff. What I really liked about Bert was that it was a very open environment, that he really encouraged people to participate and get involved. And someone like me, I wanted to keep my head down and just keep moving forward. And he knew that there was more there, I think, and that there was a capacity to understand what we were doing and to really engage. And he forced that. And sometimes that's necessary, and I think that was really beneficial for me in particular, that he forced us to engage in a way that wasn't uncomfortable, but really got you to be involved. And he was the type of professor that was more than happy to pull you aside and help you out after class, or if you knew you were really struggling with something, to go that extra mile to help explain things, to work things out, provide alternative resources that could really help you.
I think it's very important to be prepared. I don't think of myself as a faucet, and they are glasses in which all I do is reach and turn on and fill it up. I think of myself, if we want to use the water metaphor, I think of myself more as an ice cube tray, in the sense that the water goes in and takes its time to turn into something else. I think that students are there, they're more than absorbent sponges. They are living, thinking beings. I think they want to be challenged. They are on that cusp of adulthood, and part of being an adult is being treated as a thinking person who can give back to any discussion that's happening in a thoughtful and considerate and informative, intelligent way. And if you treat students like that, then they are going to react to being treated like that. And most of them will treat you the same way. They will get into what you're doing more so. They get to the point where they don't want to miss classes. To be able to get that out of a group of people who for the first time in their life are told on day one, you don't have to attend classes. Attendance is not compulsory. Therefore, there has to be something in what the instructor is doing to make them want to attend classes.
I think it's hugely important, to have the kind of contact with a professor that you get in a small class, or the contact with the professor that you get with somebody who engages you like Bert Riggs. You're not always going to be able to have that. Sometimes you're going to have larger classes where the reality is there's 200 people there, and there is no possible way for the professor to know your name and to get to have a one-on-one kind of relationship with you. But even in that kind of situation, the professors can add a personal touch or spend a little bit of time talking to the class as a class and not just talking to them as a receptacle for statistical information, and I think that really creates a difference. One of the things I kind of highlight in my mind when I think about Bert's 1080 class is that he started every single class coming in and did kind of a word of the day and a grammar trick of the day, which is something I could still probably use every day. But it wasn't just, here's a word of the day and learn it. It was a conversation, and he got people to, when we were doing grammar, it got people to kind of say, well, what do you think is wrong with this sentence? And that's really important. It was a small thing. Do I remember the words? Do I remember the grammar lessons? Maybe not, but I remember the experience, and I think that's sometimes more important.
I had an incredible experience at this university. I came here in 1972, fresh out of rural Newfoundland, no experience with a university setting. And I had some of the most fantastic teachers you could ever imagine. Some of those in my first year, like Art Scammell, like Colin Bartholomew, like Annette Staveley, who instilled in me the joy of learning, because within them I saw the joy of teaching. And when I decided that I wanted to teach, I wanted to be like them. I wanted to make my classes a place that people enjoyed being, where learning was the priority for the students, and teaching them in a way that they could learn effectively was the priority for me. When I was invited to take part in the teaching and learning framework, I thought, yes, if this is what this is directed at, a way to make sure that learning is a priority and teaching is a priority at this university, then I want to be part of it. I want to go in there and try and make sure that every student that I encounter at this university, every student at this university has as wonderful an experience as I had back in the 70s. I like to think that we are, with the various endeavors that have been proposed, the pilot project that is going to start in September of 2012, I'm enthusiastic about it. I got to introduce and present the motion to adopt the teaching and learning framework at Senate. And I made the statement there that if I were to leave Memorial the next day, being part of the planning and hopefully the implementation of the teaching and learning framework has to be one of the highlights of my university career because it is such a positive move for students and for teachers. This is a partnership. We are linked together as a chain, and each one of us is only as strong as the link we are in that chain. And I don't want to see the chain break for any student nor for any professor. I want us to reach our potential in a way that we can only dream about right now. But I think that that is something that we can accomplish, and we've laid the foundation to do that through the various aspects of the teaching and learning framework.